The international borders of the world are, well, blocky, unnatural, and ugly. Let us, with our more artistic heart, redraw their boundaries. Let us begin close to home, in Europe, and at its heart, Central Europe. And what's more Central European than Germany? Now, Germany is a rather beauteous concept of a nation, but the region is better served honestly in division than in unity. So let us return to a more confederated period of German history, that of the German Confederation 1815. In essence, we are dividing Germany into 39 states, the largest of which are Austria, Prussia, Bavaria, and Hanover. The nation holds many peculiarities in being so, such as many nations only partly being a part of it, such as Denmark in Schleswig-Holstein, the Netherlands in Greater Luxembourg, and Prussia in Brandenburg and Rhineland. No matter, these borders served the Germans once 200 years ago, and so shall they serve us now. Bordering Denmark lay Prussia, which will extend eastwards to the borders of 1805, to the third partition of Poland. With this, Prussia extends far east over the Vistula, into modern Lithuania and Belarus even, and the city of Warsaw is housed within its greater borders. Speaking of Poland, that we shall conjoin into the Austrian Empire, along with the territories of Greater Hungary cut off only by the Carpathian Mountains and the Drava River, as well as with the approximate territories of modern Slovenia and Croatia. Rather exactly the borders of Austria in 1805, that is. With Central Europe sorted, let's look to the other heart of Europe, that of the modern cultural, the West. More concretely, let's look at France, Britain, as well as Italy and Spain. For France will not do anything very radical. Let us simply extend its borders over to the Rhine River to their natural extent. Let's not talk entirely of expansion though, but also of reduction, since the lands of Savoy, Nice and Corsica naturally belong to the Italians, as this looks best. Speaking of the Italians, much as the Germans, they are better served in division than in unity. Let us divide them into the two Sicilies, Sardinia, Piedmont, the Papal States, Lombardy, Venezia, Tuscany, Modena, Parma, and Lucca. And let us suppose the kingdoms of the two Sicilies and of Sardinia, Piedmont to fall under French suzerainty, and the others under Austrian suzerainty, with the exception of the Papal States, which shall serve the world as the head of the Catholic Church. Moving on from the Italians to their cousins just across the western Mediterranean, the Iberians too are better served in division, though in nothing as radical as the Italians or Germans. Simply we shall divide the region into Portugal, Castile, Navarra, Grenada and Aragon, with the first receiving the region of Galicia in addition to its current borders. As for the missing piece of our Western European list, the British Isles shall be broken up in two acts. First let us divvy up the Irish to the four provinces of Leinster, Munster, Connacht and Ulster, like this. Next, from Britain proper, the Scots and the Cymry deserve their freedom from the English yoke at last, and the notion of England must be eradicated in division of the nation into the six kingdoms of York, Mercia, Lindsey, Middle Anglia, East Anglia and Wessex. I'd go for Danelaw here, but going Viking seems a bit too far reaching into the past, so thus we shall do. Anyhow, speaking of the Vikings, Northern Europe, these modern borders are just preposterous. For one, in no regard should the filth that is Skåneland be a part of mighty Sweden. We shall do thusly. Award Skåneland to Denmark and Bohuslän and Jämtland to Norway, then join the two in personal union. In addition, let us restore Iceland to the Danish fold. To compensate Sweden, we shall award it Finland, but to the borders of 1808, right before the region was conquered by the Russians. Speaking of Russia, the whole nation is a valiant effort, but its aims are far too overreaching in modernity. To combat those, let us further award Estonia and half of Latvia to the Swedes, or rather Estonia and Livonia to the Swedes, while giving Kurland its rightful independence. In addition, let us now restore the Grand Duchy of Lithuania to the borders it held at its peak, at around 1430, without rewriting up Russian changes, of course. Let's return to Russia in a moment, though. Looking to the Balkan, they're feeling awfully neglected. Let us do thus. We shall give the entire region in nominal suzerainty to the Turks, or rather the Ottomans, while actually giving control over its duchies and kingdoms to the European imperialists, or the nations themselves. Let the sick man of Europe be the delusional man of Europe, in other words. More concretely then, we shall forge a Greater Bulgaria, which includes the modern borders, as well as Macedonia from modern Greece and Serbia, and Dobruja from modern Romania. and we shall create the nations of Lesser Serbia, Greater Albania, and Lesser Greece to Bulgaria's west, and the duchies of Wallachia and of Moldavia to its north. Now Serbia, Albania, and Greece, as well as Bosnia, shall live under nominal Ottoman but de facto Austrian suzerainty, and Bulgaria and the Romanian duchies over nominal Ottoman suzerainty but effective independence. Looking into the Asian borders of the Ottoman state, they shall be as they were in 1914, extending over the northern Middle East totally, and into the Gulf of Persia and the Red Sea along the coast. In addition to this, though, we shall say that the Arabian desert is wholly under the control of the Emirate of Jabal Shammar, in league with the Ottomans. To oppose Ottoman domination over the entirety of Arabia, though, stands the Ibadist Muslim Sultanate of Muscat and Oman, which we shall give suzerainty over the numerous trucial states of the modern United Arab Emirates, and over the countless little nations in modern-day South Yemen, formerly Aden. Even with these competitors' thoughts, let us say that the Ottoman power is weaker yet, to play into that delusional Man of Europe act. Let us say that Yemen is an autonomous vilayet holding dominion over that of Nairan in kind, just as the vilayet of Asir shall be, and Hejaz in kind, or rather the Sharifate of Mecca. Meanwhile, on the other side of the peninsula, let us pay Jabal Shammar effective dominion over the nominal vilayet of Al-Hassa, and give Kuwait its de facto independence. Jerusalem we shall forfeit into common European internationalist sovereignty as a mutasafiret, Cyprus unto the effectively independent Greece, and as for the rest, extensive oil, land, economic and military concessions shall serve as de facto European zones of influence in what is the northern Arabian Peninsula. With all of this, we have an Ottoman Empire that is a mighty great power on paper, but in reality nothing more than a hopeless rump state. Anyhow, Africa, to give us break and give me an excuse against imperialist accusations, let us stay domestic here. First of all, the great empires of the past and some natural ones. Let us restore Carthage, Greater Morocco, Jollof, Gambia, Songhai, Kanem-Bornu, and of course Egypt. These empires shall comprehensively surround the Sahara for us, but of course there is still the issue of the desert itself. No matter. To that end we shall restore to its full extent the Senussi order in the east, as well as the lesser nations of Agades, Bagirmi, Vadai, Darmasalit, and Darfur. For the west, let us suppose the region to be mere various Berber tribes, ultimately under Carthage, as tributaries. As for sub-Saharan West Africa, let us divide Nigeria in the far north into Rabih, Damagaram, Tessaoa, Maradi, and Gobir, like it was in 1896. And Sokoto in the center, and Lagos, Benin, and Igbo in the south, along chiefly ethno-linguistic lines, that is. To the west of Nigeria, along again ethno-linguistic and historical lines, let us draw the nations of Bariba, Togo, Dagbond, Ashanti, Samori, Gwirinko, and Kenedogo, while supposing the rest to a Guinean empire thusly. On the other side of the continent, in the Horn of Africa, we shan't do anything too radical. Let us simply include Eritrea into Ethiopia and Djibouti and Somaliland into Somalia, while extending the Somali-Ethiopian border west to central Ethiopia, along religious lines again. Let's form the East African Union in the appropriate region, consisting of the nations of Kenya, Tanzania, Uganda, Rwanda, and Burundi, as well as the eastern half of the Democratic Republic of the Congo and the northern half of modern Mozambique. Additionally, let us include Malawi and what once was Northwest Rhodesia into the Union as well. The southern tip of the continent is better looking as one great federation. To that end, chop up South Africa into what was once the colonies of Good Hope, Transvaal, Orange Free State, and Natal, then federate them and add modern Lesotho, or rather Basutoland, as well as Eswatini, or Swaziland, Maputo, Zimbabwe or Southern Rhodesia, Botswana or Bechuanaland, and finally Namibia or Southwest Africa. What is now left of former Rhodesia shall be called Barotseland. Finally, all that is left of Africa is the center, and there we shall expand the Congo to include both Congos, as well as the southern half of the modern Central African Republic. According to the drainage basin we shall draw the borders, that is. That which is left of the modern lands of Cameroon we shall call Adamawa, after the former nation therein, and what is left of modern Ka shall be called Dar al-Kuti, again, a former nation therein. Finally, let Gabon gobble up its untouched neighbors. And there we have our Africa. Next, South America. Honestly, the region is in pretty good shape as is. A few things I'd change though. Firstly, expand Bolivia to the coast in the west, and to the Paraguay River in the east, and to about the 7th parallel south in the north, thusly. Secondly, include the former claimed Peruvian territories in the north to Peru. Thirdly, give Patagonia to Chile. Fourthly, annex Uruguay into Brazil. Fifthly, incorporate the former Paraguayan lands currently in Brazil into Paraguay. Sixthly, combine Venezuela, Colombia and Panama into Gran Colombia. And finally, unite the Guyanas. Central America is better served under total Mexican sovereignty, at least on the continent. By rights, the Caribbean should be a federation. Meanwhile, Anglo America has been dominated by the United States for far too long. The territories of Spanish Mexican California should naturally be a part of Mexico anew, while the extreme claims of British Columbia should be realized. That is bordering our New Mexico. Let us additionally suppose Alaska and New England into Canada proper, and the Great Lakes region into autonomy within Canada as the native confederation. Furthermore, the remnant Canadian-American border should be redrawn not as a straight line, but per the northern edge of the former Louisiana territory. Finally, the Mississippi River should serve as the western extent of whatever the Americans wish thus forth to call themselves, with all lands west of it controlled by native nations. Something like this. Hawaii shall have its independence as well. There. No more shall the Americans plague the world with their awry presence. Next, Asia. As for Russia in Europe, we shall change little. Let us simply say that the Caucasus is controlled by effective suzerainty over numerous different Cossack hosts, rather than through direct control. Such a decision certainly gives us a nicer border in what is modernly Ukraine. As for Central Asia, let us space these unnatural borders from another map of mine. Kazakhstan gains some land in the north and loses some in the south. Turkmenistan is replaced by Khiva, Uzbekistan by Bukhara. Tajikistan loses some territories to the Afghans. The gore of West Kyrgyzstan is remedied. And finally, some former Imperial Russian provinces gain their independence as Basmachi bandit cliques. Just southward, let's unite Iran and Afghanistan and call that Persia. In the Indian subcontinent, let us expand Persia to the Indus River and Nepal to the province of Uttaranchal, and give independence to Sikkim and Assam, and leave the rest as be. In Indochina, let us restore a greater Siam, giving it this awkward bit of Burma, as well as the entirety of Cambodia and Laos, a tinge of Vietnam here, and these old lands in modern Malaysia. The East Indies, for their part, we shall divide into the major islands of Sumatra, Borneo, Java, Sulawesi, Timor, Banda and Papua. For the other islands of Oceania, they'll be left untouched. Finally, East Asia. Here we'll do nothing too major. Simply said, we'll restore China to its 1812 borders, including bits of Central Asia, of India, of Indochina, of Russia, and the entire nation of Mongolia. Korea we shall unite, and Japan we shall leave be. Anyhow, bye!